All right, time now for our daily crisis update. We will start where we always start, with the latest numbers. Let's go ahead and throw those up on the screen. Let's start with where we are here in the U.S. Added 85,000 cases since Friday and more than 5,000 deaths over the weekend. Worldwide, we've seen an increase in 0.2 million cases since Friday and 17,000 deaths since Friday. As always, a note of caution that these numbers are imprecise for a variety of reasons, both because of a lack of sufficient testing here in the U.S. and around the world as well, and also from a lack of transparency in various countries. But of course, you can see those numbers continuing to go up. We are still very much in the middle of this thing, Saagar.
Yeah, and the president saying over the weekend during the briefing that they expect the death toll to end up around 60,000, which is still better than, we had warnings of 100 to 200,000 with social distancing protocols projected by Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx just a few weeks ago that we covered here on the show. So it is good to see that these things are happening. And yet the discussion now is always, how do you reopen the economy? And one of the ways that we had talked about was not just testing of the rapid testing to see whether you have coronavirus, but it's actually antibody testing. And
right.
That's to check your blood to see if you already have it, because we still just have no idea how many people who get coronavirus are asymptomatic. We just don't have a good idea of that.
Right.
Now, antibody testing was seen as a key way to do that. But right now, sorry to report, actually this is from the New York Times, that one of the things that's seen as a key to reopening the economy is not yet delivering them. And so what the Times is reporting here is that many of these tests are made in China. They have no FDA approval. They're often inaccurate, and the doctors are misusing them. So the rollout is really nowhere close to the demand because the U.S. was trying to front load this. However, it's just one of these things where, again, we need to make sure that of the 90 companies, many of them are based in China that sell tests, have not had significant government vetting, according to the Times, and, quote, have frankly dubious quality, according to the Association of Public Health Laboratories. Not good. So again, we really need to get our act together on testing, not just for the type of testing of whether you have coronavirus, on whether you did, because that is a key way. Once you have, that's how, you've seen so much discussion about herd immunity. How do you determine herd immunity?
Right.
This is how.
Right.
How do you determine who can maybe be allowed to go out back into society and who not? This is how. So this is one of the things that we really need to get right.
Yeah, this is a key piece whenever, experts lay on, okay, this is what we need in order to be able to reopen society and people to feel comfortable and safe to be able to go back out, go back to work, go about their normal lives, whatever that is at this point. This is one of the key pieces to see those sorts of numbers and concerns is very troubling.
And at the same time, some people do have access to testing. Of course. I wonder who that is.
Wonder who that is. Maybe the billionaires who are at this compound on the French Riviera. This is a report from the Washington Post. A billionaire's compound with its own coronavirus testing center stokes anger on the French Riviera. Some of the richest people in the world reportedly have homes in this development on the French Riviera, and they have access to whatever testing for themselves and their friends and family that they want. Meanwhile, of course, France has been very hard hit in a manner, quite similar to the way that New York and Italy and other places have been hit. Test shortages, all that unfolding for normal people in France. But for these folks, no problem at all.
And they quote how we covered on the show, David Geffen, the billionaire, posted a photo on his yacht of quarantine. Apparently, this is one of his favorite summer ports of call.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
Just love to see people getting together, having access to healthcare resources, and looking out for their own. And it's just a heartwarming story here that we tell on Run.
Yeah, they also detail, a piece is quite something. You should really read it for your daily dose of class rage. But they also detail how their pool companies, their landscapers are all still coming and going, doing their work. Meanwhile, everybody else is shut down, trying to make sure that they follow the social distancing protocols to keep everybody safe. But, heaven forbid that the shrubs get a little bit overgrown during this time.
Oh, certainly. All right.
Thank you so much for watching. As always, we'll have another crisis update for you back here tomorrow.